So the entire land is the demarcation of the whole place, the whole location of an area should be protected. Now, it's the same way that I want to look at this book, that if this book is properly accepted and documentedly acceptable to the human race as being authentic, the word has to be taken seriously. But there is the Quran to challenge that also. There is another book also to challenge that, and they all challenging each other. And the living God himself, whether it is Jehovah, whether it's Allah, whether it's the same person, whether it is gods, and they are all split all over the place. That is why we are also split. We've splitted all over the place, whichever way it is, has not been able to establish his ultimate authority. It looks as if, to my view, those of the Christian are really dominating. But there is an enemy, as they see the Islamic also rising and rattling and challenging the Christian faith, or the people of the Christian nature, or the Western side of approach. Because the Western side of the approach is more of a Christian approach, and mostly are seen as being the rulers of the world. But we are having China, India. They are not necessarily Christians. They are also part of the seven world, the seven industrial nations. They are also powerful. You know, Russia maybe is mixed or somehow, maybe, I don't know. But there was a time where it is much more to do with the Western world, where it is more Christian dominate, seen as or viewed as people who are putting up the form of godliness, you know, and they were ruling the entire world. In fact, they have inspired many people, me, myself, or many other people. As I'm talking this way, I'm hoping that you don't get the negative thinking that I have just talked earlier on, thinking that I'm talking about you. These are facts. I'm trying to put our facts out there, and you don't need to be thinking negative that this person is this type of person, or I'm this type of person, and I'm always saying things that bring guilt. You don't need to be guilty. If you are being biased in life, and you are more thinking about every day protecting what does not need to be protected. That is your history. You're protecting your history because you feel that it has to be protected, even though you know that maybe your historical background has engaged in something which wasn't lawful. You know, it wasn't very lawful in every way, but you're protecting it anyway. That means you have put yourself in a situation to make yourself feel bad, because we have moved out of those levels, those states, that things that were bad attitudes to life, that were not good, that resulted in so many harm and destruction and evil things, has been exposed and needs to be, you know, resented and somehow being condemned. And you didn't do that. You weren't there at that time. So why do you want to protect that? So you don't have to be worried about when I'm pulling these things out and I'm talking about these issues. It's being exposed. I'm doing part of that to expose these things and to condemn it as, no, it wasn't good. It didn't speak well of us. But not to harbor anything evil against anybody, or for anybody to think along that line that this person is discriminating against what? Hitler. Yeah, in that sense, I'm discriminating against Hitler. I mean, the Germans will feel bad when we talk about Hitler, or they talk about the First World War and the Second World War. But they talk about it every day. They even go to lay reefs, both in Germany and here and all that. Yes, we talk about it every day. It's not something for Germans to feel bad. It happens, an unfortunate situation which happened to a country by a leader taking us through all that. You know, it's not about picking about the Nazis, no. So if I am talking on these things and I'm going along this side and it becomes so sensitive, I am also sensitive. But get a grip of yourself. And I get a grip, just as I have got a grip of myself. And rather with me side by side, let us crash now. Just like the white man who was demonstrating with what Martin Luther King, for fairness in life, true fairness, for justice to be served. There was a white man who was going out with a black, what do you call it, Martin Luther King demonstrating. I'm sure even Malcolm X have white people working with him to bring peace. So if it's between black and white, you and I, just like you go to a university and students, both black and white, demonstrating to sort of establish something justifiable in the community that they belong to. It's the same way. You shouldn't rather be against me and standing at the opposite end, but side by side, whether you're black or you're white, for us to reveal or talk about things that were negative of that time. Others are still holding on these negativities, and if we don't talk about it, it will come back again. People's mental mind will develop these things again, and it will come back hitting us again. And I'm pointing that religion and culture has been the case. Check the history of Hitler and all those people, those terrible people we're talking of. You can find things out. I may not have been there, I may not have read this much of books about it, but from a distance, I can tell that is what resulted in all these things. History speaks for itself. Evil men has not come from any other place. They've been incited. And some of the insightfulness has come from such books like this, and I am revealing these things out. And I'm saying that it's no offense for any other people. Neither I don't think God is offended, because God Himself would have the true God would have been the Christian who dominates a lot, who were dominating or has dominated ruling the world for a lot. If I say Christian, like the Western Christian world or so-called demonstrative of godliness group of countries, who have ruled the world for so long, their God would have spoken right now and said, no, this is my word, my true living word. Or this is that, so crash down the Quran. But you can't, In fact, if you take the Quran and burn it, you can imagine people, and you will be people who love the book so much. Why would they love the book? Because it's a challenge. It's something that gives you a sense of meaning, and it challenges the very thing or the very other book or text, which also sort of it's not presentably acceptable to them, even though it may come from the same similar background. But no, it's not acceptable to the Islamic people. And everybody has got their book, but the ultimate God who is there has not stopped the Quran. If he is Jehovah, he has not stopped the Quran. He has not stopped the Buddhist. Then who are you to stop or be worried about all those things? They are meant to be there. As I said, my approach is always that. That is my approach now. Everything that is meant to be there is there. They are meant to be there. That's why they are there. You cannot stop it. You cannot, make it become something different. They are meant to be there. So if we want to rattle on life, and there are people who claim godliness, or put the form of godliness there, and yet there is no single proof to demonstrate their godliness, then we have ourselves something really serious to really think through. And just as I've said in 2 Timothy 3, it tells you straight ahead that these words written in 2 Timothy chapter 3 are revealing words to tell you and I that life has got strange people or strange approach by others. And their sneakiness, they are very sneaky, that if you are not careful and not aware of it, you will never understand. But there are so many people living life who are not aware of anything, or they do not see the need to be aware of anything. They just live their normal life. I live my normal life. But because they have disregarded these facts that I'm trying to share with you, they are always vulnerable to such situations. People who have seen these things or who have taken this form of approach will walk into their life and ruin their life for good. But they don't have a clue. That was what was going on. Later on, it will be too late to change or to make any amendments or sort of to go back and reverse anything.